Welcome everybody, and on this episode of This Just In, we have two new Honda motorcycles that just showed up at our office. Well, actually, Alex and I went and picked them up in Grand Junction.
We drove 10 hours to get them, they didn't just show up.
But close enough. Yeah, and let's go take a look at them. Which one do you want to start with?
Let's start with the 450RL right there.
I think that's the right bike to start with. So, this is obviously a mega dual sport bike from Honda. It's the CRF450RL. It makes around about 40 horsepower according to published reports. Honda doesn't actually publish a figure of their own, but that seems like a pretty good estimate of what this makes in terms of power. It's a 449cc Unicam engine. It's got a wide ratio 6-speed transmission, so it should be able to do everything from trail riding to a little bit of highway riding, and it's pretty cool.
It's a cool looking bike. I really like the look of it, especially with the Honda racing graphics on the side here. Yeah, wicked bike, and we're super stoked to get this off-road.
Yeah, so a couple quick facts about it. The seat height is 37.2 inches, so I am 5'10". I'm not crazy tall. I can pretty much flat foot with both of my feet when I sit on this. But if you're any shorter than 5'10", that's definitely not going to be possible. It's also got 12.6 inches of ground clearance, so pretty decent figure there. You get a 2-gallon fuel tank, and the whole package altogether, curb weight with all the fluids that it needs, is 291 pounds.
Yeah, pretty lightweight bike. These dual sports are really narrow, and there's just not a whole lot to them, so gives you lots of confidence when you're going off-road. This obviously isn't a part that's going to come on it. That was added by Honda when they sent it to us, so it just gives us a little bit of storage when we're taking this out in some of the Colorado trails and exploring. Just some other cool details I'm noticing. I like this engine cover right here on the side. Pretty cool to see that coming on the bike right when we got it. Just gives you a little bit of extra protection. Same thing with the skid plate down there. And Kase, you were telling me you really like this headlight design right here, and I agree. It's really cool. It's a LED unit, and it has this blacked out murdered look when it's not on. It's super cool.
Yeah, because it is a street legal motorcycle, of course it has to have all the lights, the mirrors, the horn, everything, and even another pretty cool item on here, these turn signals. I mean, everything on this bike looks pretty sharp. You can see that someone's already been working this thing off-road. It's missing a lever, and yeah, we're definitely going to do the same. We're going to get it out here in Colorado, do some trails.
Oh yeah. All right, let's move on to the other bike we picked up, which is also dirt-worthy. This is Honda's CB500X, which is their smallest displacement adventure bike. Sure, there's some dual sports out there that have smaller engines, but as far as a true adventure bike goes, this is as small as it gets, at least when you're looking at Honda. I'll hop on the bike real quick to show you. It's got a really low seat height, and it's just a small bike. It feels really good when you're sitting on the thing, and I can toss it back and forth. It looks bigger than it is, it looks bigger than it feels, and I'm excited to take this off-road. If you look at the tires on this bike, they are really beefy. These are Bridgestone Battle Axe. Let's see, what's the name of it? They're Adventure Cross tires, and these are not what comes stock on this bike. But this should be perfect for hitting the trails out in Colorado.
Yeah, this has some nice thick looking lugs. I think this tire is going to be good for the kind of loose terrain that we get out here. You can also see this motorcycle has crash bars.
Yeah, so that's a dealer option you can install. So this one's been a little bit adventurified. You got the crash bars there, and the side cases on the rear as well. No skid plate, but yeah, a couple cool parts on it.
Yeah, and I have to say, I did get out on this just briefly when we were unloading it, riding around the office a little bit, and this definitely doesn't feel super powerful, but like you said, it is a surprisingly light and compact bike, which is nice for an adventure bike, because as cool as stuff like the Multistrada and the Pan America are, a more than 500-pound motorcycle on really loose terrain like what we get here in Colorado is just a little clenchy. Something this size is going to be really nice.
Definitely. I mean, I'm not a dirt rider, I'm more of a sport bike guy, and something with a small engine like this is a 471cc parallel twin, just gives you a lot of confidence. According to published reports, makes about 42 horsepower and about 29 foot-pounds of torque. So like Kase said, not going to knock your socks off when you twist the throttle, but definitely enough power to get you moving off-road.
So let's do a little comparison here between suspension on this bike and suspension on that bike, because I think that's one area where I have you beat. But let's start with this. What do we got?
Yeah, so these are standard forks. They're not inverted, and they're 41 millimeters in diameter. They look a little smaller than they actually are, just because it's not an upside down fork, and a lot of people are used to seeing an inverted fork on an adventure bike. You do have some adjustability in them, especially in the rear. You can adjust the preload. But, you know, for a motorcycle like this that costs $7,000, you're going to sacrifice some things. And one of those things is suspension. So not top of the line suspension, but kind of expected.
All right, now it is my turn right here. Obviously, inverted forks. These are Showas. They're 49 millimeter. Adjustable rebound and compression on the front suspension. And then around back, you have a Showa rear shock that is fully adjustable for both preload and rebound and compression. A really nice setup. 260 millimeter disc brake in the front and a 240 millimeter brake disc in the rear. Granted, this is much better suspension than what you get on the 500X, but this is also $9,999 base MSRP. So it's even a little bit more expensive than that 500X.
Yeah, it's definitely two completely different bikes. You know,
way different.
You've got one that you can take to the motocross track and have a ripping time on, and this one you can go get groceries on, throw stuff in the side cases, and then hit the dirt trail on your way back.
Yeah, they really don't compete.
They don't compete at all. We're just showing you what we got in. This guy, the NC5, I just said NC, it's a CB. NC is a different lineup from Honda. The CB500X for 2021 got ABS as standard. You used to be able to choose between ABS and a non-ABS model, but this year, just ABS. This also has, I believe it's a 4.7 gallon tank. I am terrible with numbers, that's a fun fact. 4.6 gallon tank. And you know, you should be able to get well over 200 miles of range with this bike, but that's something you can't really say about that one.
Yeah, 2 gallons versus that, it's definitely a big difference, but it is going to be incredible to see. Even though these two bikes don't compete, it would be interesting, I would say, to show a dual sport versus an ADV on an actual off-road trail and just see what it's like trying to do either, because we know this is going to be better, but it'll be interesting to see just how much easier it is to do difficult trails on a dual sport.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, and we'll ride out to the trails on those, because that's where you'll really see the difference. So that's a good video idea. Two good-looking bikes. They're both in kind of a Honda red. This one's a little harder to tell, but Matt, if you look down here, really cool color frame on this. I wish the crash bars up front were the same color red, but overall, two good-looking bikes. Let us know in the comments what you want to see with these two machines. We'll have them quite a while. So
yeah, I mean, the obvious answer is we're going to want to see them off-road. But if you guys have any more specifics from there, let us know. But yeah, now that we've got good riding weather, it's time to get
the helmet on, get out there. Exactly.
Yeah, see a little dirt.
Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to head on over to tflbike.com so you don't miss any stories in the motorcycle world. And we'll catch you in the next video.
Yep.